See after the fact. Go live. All right. Hey everybody. Welcome to a Monday stream at 4:20. I typically go for 4 o'clock, but I had gotten home at like 3:56 from a bike ride, so had to put it off a few minutes to set up the announcement rollover at the Discord. How are we doing today? I was late to yesterday's stream. Yeah, well, I don't blame you. Yesterday's stream went on for 5.5 hours. I was kind of mentally joking that it would take us 6 hours to watch that 90-minute video. But then it turned out to be reality. But that was because we talked about a lot of things yesterday. It was a really good stream. But it's 5:20. Depends on time zones. It's 11 o'clock for some guy in the Discord. So let's see. Hang on. Give me accurate numbers. I know there's not 0 stream viewers. 33. Okay. I was just watching the video. Yeah, I would fast forward through it personally. Oh, in case anybody was here for yesterday's stream, is the noise gate better? Because I know I was cutting off a lot of words yesterday. What if I told you it's 22/22? That's Elder Scrolls 6's release date. So we're playing a bit of premium orc content here today. Shadow of Mordor. So it came down to a choice between this and Shadow of War. I think it's too loud. And the deciding factor, a lot of people actually seem to think that Shadow of Mordor is like the better individual game. Like you can do more. You can do more with Shadow of War, but Shadow of Mordor is like really simple. So we're like 5 minutes into the game. I liked yesterday's stream. I watched a ton of plates in the while. That's good. I think that's the Shadow of War is worse. I think it's worse in terms of overall mechanics, but it took me like 10 minutes to get into the actual game. And you can't really say that for Shadow of War.
I heard you know members of the Resistance.
Leap of faith, teehee. Yeah. Yeah. No consequences for eating shit off of a cliff. Now I don't know if we can actually just go off and do whatever we want to. I think you have to do a couple of the main quests. I'm glad they removed the MXT from War. I see an artifact. My monkey brain is saying that we have to get it. I think maybe I have to view it as... I'm not sure. Let's see. I agree that Shadow of Mordor is better, but the replayability is better in War. I mean, Shadow of War is, like I said again, I think the better game. I think Shadow of Mordor is more appreciable, though, because it's got kind of that rustic factor to it.
Saw you reaching into the cage and wondered wondered what you was doing. That beast nearly took me arm. They had a sharp blade through.
Shadow Warder remembered gameplay first and foremost. Shadow War used that gameplay to flog us with a bloated system. I think Shadow of War used it to flog us with its fucking story, which is a war crime. Morrowind memes have had a strange resurgence. No, they were always there.
I use your human sight to track the Uruk. I see more than any mortal.
Where's the female orcs at? That's a good question. It's just that easy.
Captain, cut off the head of the snake, and the body will wither.
There's definitely room for a third game to learn from and make big improvements. Absolutely. I'd love to see a third Shadow of Mordor game where Monolith actually gets to learn. I forgot to mention, this is like the second Monolith stream in a row that we're doing.
We're all itching to kill, so bloody well calm down and save it for the enemy.
Shadow War gets more flack to the monetary systems in the background. Those have been gone for years, though. So at this point, the conversation should be more kind of mechanically focused. Would you sex a female orc? I'd be worried that she would rip my dick off. But I appreciate the premium orc content. I should have figured out how to do the custom emotes and put that guy on here. It's an emote on our Discord. I don't remember. I don't remember what the execution button was, so kinda sloppy there. Nemesis system is the greatest thing ever, and the worst thing Warner Brother did was patent the thing. Did they patent it or did they copyright it? Because there's a difference. The stylistic Nemesis system. All right, this is gonna get out of hand fast. The stylistics of the Nemesis system, like the tiered orc clans, is copyrightable. I think they could be contested for a patent, though, because there are other games that are already with similar kind of dynamics. 11 out of 10 spatial awareness on these orcs? Yeah, no, it's a joke. We're playing as Orcish Batman, basically. I wish Talion would just embrace his role and love orcs the way I do. It was patented, yeah. Sounds like something that Ubisoft could contest. God damn it. I did the tutorial like, I don't know, 3 days ago. And I just like went through it. Shift left mouse button. That sounds right. Yep, you're right.
Not today. Try again. Chop him to bits.
Alright, we're a bit outnumbered. Orcish Batman from The Dark Knight Returns? Yeah. Hey, don't do me like that. They tried to do it in 2015 and continued to do it until recently when it finally got accepted. You mean the patent submission? Here's the thing, people submit patents like all the time. I know Apple recently lost a case with a patent troll. So I mean, like, it's a fucked up industry.
I'll kill you.
But it's not like the end of the world. And all you gotta do to bypass it is just go, this is not a nemesis system. We're just dynamically generating relationships between characters, like other games already do. I'm gonna play Dark Souls style and just dodge after every swing. Look, no consequences. Okay, talking a bit of shit. So the way I usually play this game is I don't upgrade so that it stays kind of difficult. The problem is if you don't execute the orcs, they like never die. It doesn't... Okay, the game is intent on proving that I'm full of shit. All your mates are dead. Shit. 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 Suffer me now. I don't know if we'll get far enough to where we're going to do branding, but I usually don't do branding either. Time to patent PatricianTV. Sure. One with nature. Immune to poison. Recover all focus and health for killing a captain or war chief. Sure. Throwing a lot of info at me there.
Do you think they're likely to let us be if we finish our tasks early?
I'm just trying to play Orcish Game of Thrones. But on a real note, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Did you ever play Shadow War? Yeah. That's how I can have an opinion on it. I don't think it's a bad game. I think that it wasn't fit to stream just because I couldn't get to the part of the actual game without playing a couple hours of it. You realize how soothing your voice is? No. Oh man, they already know about the Ranger. Just stare right down at it.
His head chopped off because while he was arse over elbow on grog, he picked up his sword by the wrong end.
I think Mordor has a more refined combat system, TBH. It feels more brutal. Okay, so that's the story guy. Did you play DLCs? I played one of them. I don't recall like what it was about. Bye. Took a second for him to realize that something was fucky. Why don't you do branding, lol? That's my favorite part. Because it makes it too easy. Like, it's worth it for a novelty, and then you realize that, like, I don't know. I liked, the big part of the game I enjoyed was being Orcish Assassin.
Heard rumors about some trouble.
No, no, no. Everybody's blind in a Ubisoft style game. What's your opinion on Minecraft? I like it. I like it modded. I haven't played it in a long time though. Oh, come on.
A slave's on the run. Come here. Movement.
That guy could have been our friend. I think the problem with the orcs being like just horrified elves, traumatized elves, is that it like logistically doesn't make sense to me. Have I got around to playing Haven from the Game Bakers? No. I didn't play Squid's Odyssey either though, so. He's getting it. Even though these games ripped off the Arkham series, I still think they did it better. I mean, that's the way to do it, is if you're going to be derivative, be better. That guy's whole job is to watch for me, and he just saw me do all that, and...
But I won't go down so easy. You'll see. What was that?
I knew something was up when there was an archer on the ground. I thought the orcs were bred like in the earth. Yeah, that's like the stormtroopers all being clones kind of misinformation. Am I bald in real life? Yeah.
When I was on patrol earlier, I could feel something watching me.
But voluntarily, because that's the only way.
Snagog saw back again. Maybe it's a spy working with that tongue. We should kill it before it reports back to him.
We have detective vision.
I did Uruk, and I didn't do it.
What's the deal with this guy? Oh. He doesn't see anything.
The torments you'll endure at my hand will be the stuff of legend!
Peace. What are you gonna do? Come up here?
Up there! Grab the slave! Don't forget who the master is!
You guys can't do shit. Urks are human-orc hybrid.
Now that I'm the boss, there's gonna be a lot more pain and suffering around here.
I prefer the Warhammer 40k orcs.
We've got in it not like that! Just you and me!
Come on.
You're mine!
Okay, you can't hit him. We're gonna play Round the Rugged Rocks. The Ragged Rascals ran. It's just that easy. Don't tell me this game has climbing mechanics, but the orcs can't climb.
You faggot! You're pathetic! Why not just lie down?
I looked away and you appeared. But I can hit you.
faces. You think I'm slow? I know that trick. Not too sharp for that trick.
Oh, he's frenzied.
Stand back. You'll learn something here.
He's having a gamer moment. Alright. Gotta bail. Just a quick little health sippy. For instance, Sauron isn't even the main bad guy.
I don't need help to kill.
No, in the broader sense, he's not. But that's like saying, you know, Dagoth isn't the main bad guy of Elder Scrolls. Like, yeah. What are you gonna do? Eat shit. Just wanted to say that yesterday's stream was one of my favorite stream experiences so far. I learned a lot and it was very entertaining. Yeah, the only thing is I can't do it every stream. But we bring back Gluck the Smasher here for a second. We can make this a call-in show. So, if anybody's interested in calling in, you can head over to the Discord. And there's a additional rules section that you'll see at the bottom. And then you can enter waiting to call, and I'll bring you in. Just bring something to talk about, please. It can be Lord of the Rings, it can be Oblivion. I would prefer Oblivion, honestly. This guy's like got all of his health back. Are you tired? Yeah, no hate of defeat this time. Will I do an 8-hour video on Fallout New Vegas? I don't know, we'll find out when we get there. Some of the chat were kind of cringe, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's what somebody said that, and I couldn't find the comment. I just saw the notification that, like, the chat renewed and wrecked their pride in humanity. Just making sure you weren't a chieftain, because these guys have been, like, turning up. The creator of Sauron is a being that mortals can't just go up against. In that aspect, Sauron might as well be the main bad guy. I mean, yeah, there's like a whole theistic aspect to it. From my understanding, anyways. Favorite YouTubers? Also, thoughts on Joseph Anderson. I'm not going to answer the favorite YouTubers question, but I will say, I like Joseph. I like his Fallout videos. They're an inspiration. I think he just gets too bothered too easily. It was just Reddit tier comments half the time. What? Well, listen. What is a discussion on Oblivion without somebody having a Reddit moment? The Thalmor were always the true bad guys. They were the true bad guys for, like, Skyrim. Alrighty, let's see. Discord acknowledges me. Mr. Florida Man, you're on the air. Is it true that you guys try to fuck gators?
Oh shit, am I on there?
Mm-hmm. I asked, do you fuck alligators?
Only in my spare time. Not on the clock.
Right, okay. So what you want to talk about?
Okay. So, I have a very interesting opinion on Oblivion. I haven't really gotten past much of the beginning of the main quest. I've been told that people consider it like the favorite of the series.
Which one, Morrowind?
Oblivion.
Uh,
I started with Skyrim, as you know most people would have done nowadays, but I just can't play Oblivion.
it's rough because it's in that middle ground between Skyrim and Morrowind, and it doesn't know which one it wants to be.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I tried playing Oblivion multiple times and I just can't get through it, man. I think the furthest I've gone in the main quest is once you get to Cloud Ruler Temple,
That's like
and then I tried doing like the T-Field quest and stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Oblivion's rough if you're not like emotionally attached to it.
But it's when I told people about it, they would tell me things like, you know, oh, you just like Skyrim because it's the first one that you played, but I don't even like Skyrim that much. Or they would say Morrowind because it's the first one that you played, but I didn't play Morrowind first. I just got into it later.
Yeah, I've never given credence to that kind of argument. Well,
So, oh, am I done?
I mean, if you don't have anything else.
Okay.
Well, thanks
I'll
for
let some other people talk.
yeah, thanks for calling in. Oblivion was great when it came out, but a little outdated now. I think it was always outdated.
Where was you running to earlier? Chasing after some escaped manfield. Should have just let the archers take them down.
Yeah, I can't go back to Oblivion, and I am emotionally attached to it. It's definitely rough. Yeah, all three of the modern Elder Scrolls games kind of have good music.
No, you're imagining stuff again.
God bless that lad. Don't get him. Gotta save this guy. You make very long videos. I made a very long video. I do long streams though. Whoops. That's a waste. They get the human. I'm a zoomer, and Morrowind hits the autism just right. Oblivion hinders it. Okay. I think this is going to turn into like a perpetual fight. We're at like just the right spot to always have like people showing up. Nope, don't hit that guy. Oh, that's definitely a boy. Damn. The intelligence guy ran off. So who are you? Already?
But I didn't. Now I'm gonna show you the pain I was in.
That was like 5 minutes ago, man.
We'll see who never win.
Did you learn this trick, man? Wow. Okay. You didn't... What happened?
A time will come.
Oh. I guess he had a stealth weakness?
The skies of a Gondor.
Okay, why don't you get... Why don't you get 2 points if you hit 2 people? To become a leader after 5 quests is the most annoying part of Skyrim. Yeah. I think they overestimated how many Radiant quests people were gonna actually do. He got weaker. How did he get weak to the thing that killed him, though? I guess what kills you does make you weaker. I think you can use your eyes to see weaknesses. Yeah, I can. He just sort of came up on me. So we're trying to get some intel on Orcish society here. "95% of what you do in Skyrim is fighting through cave dungeons until you get the Word of Power at the end." Oh, by the way, I figured out how to do like chat overlays. Although that's Discord. Make sure. Oh, I have to pop the chat out. That's right. We do pop out chat. Bring you in. And then set it to the... Oh. Oh, I think it's because I made it after the element. There we go. And then, boom. In Skyrim, Thieves Guild is better than the College, is better than the Companions. Where do you place the Dark Brotherhood? What I find weird is that Talion's face looks better in this game than in Shadow of War. Sure. The Silverhands did nothing wrong. Dawnguard's proof of that. They were just early. It's weird you can hit any part of the cage and let the beast loose. Alright, let's see. Don't put me on air is in waiting to call. Who are you normally? Travis. Hey, I'm gonna follow the I'm not a contrarian, so I'm gonna follow the letter of the law there. Hey, I'm responsible for your freedom. Don't start shit. Sup both Pat and the entire stream. Exactly, that's the point of putting the chat out there.
How the men folk spread so far. They can barely stand against us. Rare ones like that slave that ran are good at getting them whipped up in a French. Slaves escape.
Thank you. Please rescue my friends before they're killed. They don't know when to keep quiet.
Damn, that's some chunky delay. Yeah, it is. Game, you can't turn on the companions for being werewolves like you can turn on the Dark Brotherhood? Yeah, that's the questionable part. The companions were the only faction that I had not done any content for at all. Because I had to come up with a character that I could justify, like, getting hazed. Hey. Excuse me? I like the fan theory of them being a detachment of the companions. Is there credence to that theory? Because it sounds interesting. Played this recently, got annoyed and quit.
Like hands of silver spread through Sauron's land.
If you're not into the kind of Assassin's Creed formula, then yeah, I can see that happening.
Maybe we should get ready to march.
Let's see, where are we going next? We're going west. Companions as a faction suck. Let's be real, in concept, they're interesting. Execution, meh. Well, yeah, that's part of the problem is I think they fell by the wayside with, like, all the old Skyrim lore. Kind of all those old gods that just conveniently happened to get forgotten in the time skip. Shadow of War is arguably the better game in every aspect of Shadow of Mordor. Not in fucking pacing. You know how long it takes to actually get the ball rolling in Shadow of War? That was the deciding factor. The Silverhands sometimes have books about Shore on their purpose. And why would they care about Ysgramor's axe? I mean, they're still Nords at the end of the day. Like, they're still attached to kind of that cultural identity. Ratlug, the tongue. What do I think about Shadow of War? Fine game, takes forever to start. What are the chieftains? There's one there. I think the only problem is like tallying, like the kind of Assassin's Creed formula where like characters are way more agile than you would ever get away with. These guys have like no defense against Caragors. Like, how did they ever like get control of them? We're in the intel gathering phase right now. Before we start playing politics. I feel like you could say that about most factions in Skyrim, like having reclusive College of Mages shunned by Nordic society for alleged atrocities they committed sounds nice in concept as well. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, good on paper, bad in execution quest lines. Like, what happened at the College of Winterhold, the fact that most people kind of just speculate really says a lot about how that faction really approached that issue. Greenskins or Skaven? Greenskins. Skaven are fun, but Greenskins are better. Have you seen Zaric's video about how if you swap banning Talos with banning Shore, it makes more sense in the story and lore? No, but I saw like it recommended. Off topic, but have I played the Metro series? No, but it keeps getting asked. Requested, I should say. It's the correct way to put that. We are so fucked. Nah, just kidding. Just run away. Climb. And boom. Mork or Mork? Which one provides the missile strength bonus in Warhammer 2? I think it's Mork. But him. Poor Orcs. Talion just comes along and tortures them. Yeah, I wish we could let him go. You know, a catch and release program. Because I'm not trying to destabilize Orcish society, you know.
Just 'cause we haven't seen him don't mean he's not close by. Swear I heard him breathing. There was no wind.
As douche rabble rouser. I'm pretty sure that unless the tower theory is true, the Thalmor's motivations make no sense. The Thalmor, listen, I'll boil this down to you. All elves are super salty about Lorkhan, and that's basically what their motivations boil down to, is kind of just invalidating him. Because they didn't find that whole immortality thing funny like the humans did. Oh. We've got a boy that knows something. Oh shit. Alright, we're not interrogating that boy. I thought we could do it. The Talos mantled Lorkhan. Wouldn't killing Shore also erase mankind? It wouldn't erase mankind. Oh shit. Like when you tell people to do that thing, you just grab and chuck them around and treat them nice and maybe they won't betray you. Hey, help me out here. Thank you. Oh, what happened? Emub the Slayer died. Booth Ghoul Lover died. Rash the Wicked died. Booth the Ghoul Lover died. An unknown Uruk was promoted to captain. What do you think about Zaric Skyrim rewrite stuff?
But all these towers of silver.
I gotta watch them. Oh man, I was supposed to go do that. Oh well.
To guide us in the land
Sorry, I
of
didn't think. I wasn't nihilistic enough. Gotta go get the tower.
pale reflections of the light.
The tower theory is that there are these towers like Red Mountain, Talos, Lorkhan, Adamantine, etc. And if you destroy them, you unravel Mundus and the spirits that died to make Mundus return. Yeah, but the whole thing is like conjecture on their part. On the part of the Thalmor, anyways, that they'll get the desired response.
When Mordor rises from shadow, fear is all they'll have.
Ours, douche.
Zezda will try and bring the Dwemer back one day and totally ruin the concept, I reckon. Like new Bethesda will. It won't be like any of the people responsible for the old lore. Okay, that guy will be easy to interrogate. Talos is a Breton, Nord, and Imperial. Talos is at Morin. Hey. Gam the Claw. They always look so angry when you kill them. Hey Pat, percentage-wise, how much of the Oblivion work do you think is done? Like 50% of the script. Why are you saying I should be working instead of streaming? Because you're right and wrong. Your friends will never believe you. Any thoughts on Michael Kirkbride's coda? Yeah, it's an immensely useful tool for saying that ESO is not canon. If you want a fair bit of fun, go into photo mode when Talion does an execution or attacks. No, I have a bunch of screenshots from photo mode. It's definitely funny. Talos was a Hyperborean, but he didn't have to cut us off. Shadow of Mordor versus Shadow of War would be an interesting breakdown. It's not a universal upgrade. They changed things for sure. I want to say it was infamous Sir Hellfire, but I'm not sure who actually did something like that. Also, Zaric, you can message me on Discord, because I'm looking to collaborate with people on the Oblivion video. Are the Skyrim DLCs any good? Yes. Well, not the DLCs, the actual, like, expansions were. They're the better parts of Skyrim. Like how the DLC in Oblivion is the better part of Oblivion. We're doing hijinks. I really want to play this game. You know, I do want to do, like, multiplayer stuff. I think it'd be fun. You think though Bethesda will add an equivalent to shouts? It was too popular not to. And the reason is that it allows barbarians to do magic without actually having to think about the kind of mechanics behind magic. Or it's possible that magic will be so simplified that it'll be like the simplicity of shouts. See you, Mr. Halo 69. Can we explode fires yet? No, we can't. I don't know if that was a war thing or a Mordor thing, or if there's just some upgrade that we have to get.
We'll have to summon a stronger spirit if he wants to burn me with one of his right attacks.
Hey, I don't burn people. I resent that accusation. Stellaris would be cool yet long. Yeah, it would be really long. I'd have to relearn how to play Stellaris too. But we could do orcs. Do like a makeshift 40k faction. If it's Hammerfell, then it'll be sword swinging. That's too simple and front facing not to use. Absolutely. Hey boys. Missed the news ramble videos? Yeah, those were experimental.
Sit down to the light against the shadow.
Shut up. Celebrimbor. I remember your name. Even though I've skipped all the cutscenes. They're drastically changing Stellaris in the April patch anyways. This is why I don't learn Stellaris. Because it's like an active kind of multiplayer game, so there's just constant patches. I like my multiplayer games to have like quarterly patches. There's like no resistance to grabbing orcs from the front. I think people are too black-pilled on Carol Bombo. I think people are too black-pilled about how Hammerfell Elder Scrolls Skyrim 2 is going to be literally Skyrim 2. It all depends on what mood Microsoft's in at the end of the day. Did Imperator get an overhaul? Because I got that game for free. Countered enemies will be knocked down, backwards, stunned, or knocked down. Yeah. Have to do power struggles. And then that lets me... So you start getting upgrades, and then like you start like immediately becoming powerful. Like, oh, now we're the Flash. Do you think the orcs having internal factions would improve or worsen the Nemesis system? It would improve it. Are we in top chat mode again? No wonder I'm not seeing Mad Dog as often as I think I should. Microsoft doesn't have a mood, it has 1,000 moods. Exactly. And that's my point, is if Microsoft's in games for Windows Live mode, we're fucked. If Microsoft's in bring Halo to Steam mode, there's maybe hope. How long have we been playing? We got about an hour here. Got an hour here, and nobody calling in. I shouldn't have rushed Florida Man. This game would do really well with the trolling system. Yeah, like give me a can of spray paint, and I'm not sure. Has anybody else noticed that the lightning's Technicolor? I think that's a visual glitch. But give me a can of spray paint and like let me wedgie orcs. Like this doesn't kill him, it just like pulls his pants up. This combat's too easy, I say, as I die. There's a good chance Todd Howard will retire after making a space game, and then Emil will be creative lead for Elder Scrolls 6. That's my prediction, too. Todd Howard is getting the game. Here's the thing. A lot of people underestimate how old Todd Howard is because he does not age. He's like a warlock. Until he gets to make Starfield, he will not age. Combat in Shadow of Mordor kinda does not exist. Yeah. People have to do, like, don't buy any upgrades kind of challenges to enjoy the combat. What's worse, a wild Todd Howard or an Emil Pagliarulo? Emil
I see
Pagliarulo.
in Star Moon like Ithildium. These stones splinter from a past half remembered.
Don't worry, Todd. Just make Oblivion and we'll let you make Starfield. Don't worry, Todd. Just make Fallout 3 and we'll let you make Starfield. That's his career. Would Todd really retire? He's in a cozy position. He's made a shit ton of money. And he's been doing this for like a full career. Like he started at Bethesda in the 90s. Mad Dog, I know that you would win the chess match. That's why he's not going to accept. Was that an improvement? Was getting the ability to instantly kill orcs an improvement? If our focus is just to try to do some community outreach here. We're just trying to understand the players in the community. Not trying to genocide orcs. Oh, hey.
Why don't you come over here, Ranger? Don't tell me you're scared.
Well, that is kind of scary. Todd's rich and he's achieved most of his goals. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if Todd Howard started a studio after retiring from Bethesda? There's got to be some kind of non-compete contract in there somewhere. No, Todd Howard didn't sell his soul to Cash Crop Concepts. He sold his soul to make Starfield.
Mordor takes Eldar shape.
The thing is, Microsoft paid $7 billion to acquire ZeniMax, so they're gonna want cash cows. Shit, we got all the towers. Now what do we do?
Ratlu.
I need to figure out what Rat Luke's about, so we can do some proper proper community building. Skyrim copies are Todd's Horcruxes. I've got like 3 of them in my house. I think the more times you split your soul, like the less human you are. Like you just start becoming like a comical murderer person. Watch Stanfield be a card game. It was called 10th Planet and nearly bankrupted Bethesda to the point they had to form ZeniMax to finance them out of that hole. I'd be interested to read about that. Alright, am I taking calls right now? Yeah. Feel free to call in. In fact, hang on. I think there's something going on. Oh, it's these fucking guys. Mr. Lord End Game, you're on the air, and your microphone's muted.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of doing a lab report, so.
What you got?
So, I just wanted to ask, like, what do you think? What are some of your favorite concepts from the TES series? You know, just like I love hearing just people talk about the more like deep lore, even if it's not deep lore. You know.
Are we talking lore concepts or gameplay concepts?
One of each should be fine unless you want to keep it to one.
All right. As far as like gameplay concepts, though, I've always really enjoyed spellcrafting and the opportunities that it gives the player for creativity in their build. Because compared to combat, you don't get a lot of like customization for how your tools are.
Yeah, the uniqueness when it comes to melee combats is, you know, there's no difference in swinging, you know, really swinging a sword and swinging an axe. It's still, you know, you're still doing the same basic thing, but...
Well, it took until Skyrim for them to come up with a way for you to craft your own swords, and even then, they're the same as the stuff you find in the field, so... as far as lore concepts go, I mean... The Elder Scrolls lore is a very rich tapestry, and I think that's kind of what makes it interesting, is that with a lot of other franchises, you can't really look at like an individual thing and analyze the lore of it like you can with Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say those are all fine, you know, those are fine and interesting answers. I mean, I really wasn't expecting, you know, I mean, I was thinking more of like, oh, maybe like what metaphysical concept do you find interesting that,
if I had to pick, it would be the fact that there are like half as many prominent divines as there are Daedric princes. And I've seen some people draw like really interesting diagrams related to that kind of concept. And like
in the idea of like the spokes of the wheel and such.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, have you read the New Whirling School's any of his essays?
No, I haven't.
That's a good website, the New Whirling School.
You can link it to me.
Yeah. The main purpose of the site is is the authors like it's more of a reading guide for the sermons of Vivek, and I think he has like the first like 13 or so done. I think he
saw that part linked before when I was.
But he also has other essays that he's written personally that I think talk about these really nice lore concepts, and I remember reading them and being like, wow, these are well written, these are interesting. They're approachable is also what I thought is what's really good about them.
Yeah, you have an interesting kind of intellectual diversity when it comes to Elder Scrolls analysis. I think that's just that speaks to the merits of its lore compared to a lot of other franchises.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm gonna head out. It was, I deeply enjoy your videos. I can hope you continue to go on, and I hope you have a great day.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your call. Mr. Zaric Zhakaron, you're on the air.
Well, hello there.
Yeah, it's good talking to you.
Well, we'll talk later about some collaboration you want to do, but we'll do that in text.
Right.
What I was going to say, two things. Well, first I was going to ask you, what do you think about the disproportionately large amount of people who think that Michael Kirkbride is all Elder Scrolls lore and Todd Howard is all Elder Scrolls design?
So I was kind of looking into it recently as part of my research, and I think a lot of it comes down to how badly sourced the actual individual quest design is. I had to look for hours to find a source that said that Mark Nelson wrote the Fighters Guild quest in Oblivion.
Yeah, I
Because
honestly found no evidence of that myself when I was looking.
Yeah,
So-
I had to, and it was like a Nexus page for a Blackwood Company mod that attributed it to him. Like, that's the best I got. So I think the lack of kind of acknowledgement that there are individual writers who are responsible for the writing kind of lets Kirkbride slide into this position where you can go, it was all me, guys. This is my work. And it's like, no, you're a concept artist, and you wrote a lot of good books for the game, but you never wrote any of these quest lines.
Yeah, I've noticed that Kirkbride actually,
He's listed
The
as the
Tribunal
writer
Temple.
on the... He's listed as the writer on Wikipedia for Oblivion,
yeah,
and he was
And
not in
that's
that
nuts.
role. That's not accurate at all.
he
Sorry
wrote
to
the
cut you
Mythic Dawn commentaries and the Knights of the Nine quest line. That's basically it.
Yeah, and then that means that him and Ted Peterson are the main writers, and it's like, well, what about Ken Rolston? What about Mark Nelson? What about Pagliarulo, Nesmith, Chapin, all these guys that don't get credit?
I mean, Emil has flat out, everyone knows he wrote the Dark Brotherhood quest line because he changed the Dark Brotherhood from a guild of
Kind of non-religious assassins that broke off from the Morag Tong to like a murder cult.
not just a murder cult, Catholicism.
Yeah.
So the night, I mean, Sithis is God. The Night Mother, and people argue about this, whether the Night Mother is Jesus or the Mother Mary. But let's just go with the Jesus for a second. So, from God to Jesus, and to the listener, who is the Pope, to the Council of Cardinals, who are the Black Hand.
And it makes sense
Like-
given how organized their religion is at the upper echelon.
Yes.
I never thought about that, but
Exactly.
you are absolutely right. I think Emil Pagliarulo isn't the most creative person because, he was a level designer for Thief, so he's sort of always been on the derivative side. I think he just has interesting ideas.
Yes.
But you are correct in that a lot of people overstate Kirkbride's kind of influence on the series. Because I mean,
I
when you
think-
you get a bunch of Elder Scrolls nerds in the room, and they're going to start talking about the 36 sermons. So
Yes. A lot of it is, from what I've seen, first of all, like the big source of lore that people attribute is the Imperial Library. And one of the main contributors and later administrators of the Imperial Library is Kirkbride's now wife, who was like 13 when Morrowind was released, but we don't talk about that very much.
well, and he threatened to take all his writings off with the DMCA if
Yes.
the Imperial Library kept Douglas Goodall's interview up.
Yes, I saw that, and people say, well, that can't be right because Lady Nerevar runs the Imperial Library. They don't understand timelines. So
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misinformation that's going on.
yes.
Which means we'll never get a Kirkbride interview, you and I, but I think the truth's more
Well,
important.
Well, I mean, if you go to Memospore, that's the YouTube channel where the Selectives Lorecast goes on, you can see a lot of his thoughts and feelings on things get pretty well aired. They discuss the lore over there, and it's all very much, how do the towers influence the wheel, and does the tower need a stone? All the stuff that doesn't matter to the gameplay at all.
I wonder what he thinks of ESO. I'm sure he hates it.
Yeah, okay, so have you heard of Kinmune?
I've heard of it. I'm not too familiar.
Okay.
The name is striking a chord, but you gotta tell me.
Yes. All right, so the Queen of the Aldmeri Dominion, Queen Irene, is one of the best characters in ESO. So Michael Kirkbride decided to write up a lore piece about how there was a spaceship from the Ninth Era that collided with a Hist mining ship, and fell through some kind of dimensional vortex and went back in time and became Queen Irene. So Queen Irene of the Aldmeri Dominion is actually a spaceship from the Ninth Era, named Kinmune.
It all comes together now. That explains how ESO is so fucked up.
I am actually in the progress of doing a live streaming series, mostly for the sake of recording it without using up local storage space.
Right.
But I'm just kind of recording the entire ESO beginning to end, all the quests, and I'm gonna start breaking them down because there's like, oh, these are diamonds in a shit soup. That's the best way to put it.
I think there's a lot of writers that are kind of not being appreciated.
Yes.
Because I think at the end of the day, the way a lot of people digest the lore is a lore video or a lore post on like a subreddit, and not actually playing the games themselves. Because you know how I play ESO? I get the objective, I do it, and I turn it in. I don't read any of the flavor text. Because I'm trying to play with my friends. I'm not trying to read a novel.
Exactly. So I'm doing it the exact opposite way. God, invulnerable to range. Those guys piss me off. Worse off if you try to vault over that guy. He'll probably hurt you.
I gotta like bait something to him.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is that there is there's a weird kind of setup with the community where everyone kind of focuses on the Imperial Library, Michael Kirkbride, Lady Nerevar, and kind of this, people call it the cult of Kirkbride. I'm not going to say whether it is or not.
I don't think it's a cult. I think it's a lack of information.
Yes. Well, I'm just regurgitating what someone else called it.
Right.
I don't actually think it's that organized. So, but what I mean is there's a small pool of people that kind of pushed for this certain way that Elder Scrolls lore has to be digested, and as a result, we get this overemphasis on Kirkbride. I've noticed, and not to say like I enjoyed the sermons for what they were, but they weren't relevant to the game. Like the actual Temple faction barely acknowledges their existence.
Well, I was streaming yesterday, and somebody asked how often Chim comes up in the main story, and I'm like, it comes up in the sermons. And somebody else was like, no, it comes up all the time in the story.
No, it doesn't.
I think people are kind of misremembering things, and that's a big part of it. I was gonna go to the UESP once I was done with my Oblivion video with all the sources of who wrote what, because they seem on the level of terms of like getting the info out there about who's actually responsible for what.
No, there was a huge thing. If you actually go back using the internet like Wayback Machine, and you look at UESP's talk pages for the actual articles, there were all kinds of debates going on there about should we include out-of-game lore? Should we include it in the main article? Should we have it as a footnote? How do we handle out-of-game lore? and it's now handled on a per article basis with a slant on whatever is, you know, factually in game, and then they will kind of just, you know, put OOG tags on it to reference what isn't actually in game. And in general, what I'm trying to say is the main, like, things like Chim, that they aren't referenced in the game basically at all, other than
One conversation with Vivek. Kind of.
yeah, kind of. What I'm trying to say is that I don't know.
I think it's up to people like us to kind of make sure that everybody's on the level with who's responsible for what. I was going to ask you, because I read a Ken Rolston interview. He's kind of on the side of that Douglas Goodall is kind of overstated his role in Morrowind. I wonder if you have any thoughts on that. He didn't outright say it as beef. I think Douglas Goodall probably had a stake in saying, I did all of this, and Ken Rolston has a stake in saying, well, you did a lot less than what you're saying.
I think that Ken Rolston has a much higher opinion of himself and the quality of his work than other people. I don't
of Amalur.
think... Yes. We've seen evidence of this in another work, so I would say Douglas did a fair amount, you know, and video game writing is a collaborative effort. The 36 sermons aren't actually that huge. It's just that people look at it like,
it's a monumentous contribution. I think in terms of game writing,
there are
it's
36
significant.
of them.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm trying to say is, if you merged all of the sermons together, there isn't that much text there. It's
I remember
just
that. It was like an afternoon for me to read it.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, people look at it, assume that it is the majority of Morrowind's writing or somewhere close to that, and it's simply not.
Yeah.
But Douglas, from what I understand, worked on a couple of the guilds and, you know, was the majority of the Fighters Guild. But that's as I understand it. Again, there's no information out there.
He had a big hand in House Sylvani, according to him, too. And that makes sense to me, because you can kind of see where him and Rolston were kind of fighting with the one fast travel person at Divith Fierce place. You can, like, that's obviously an addition of Rolston, and then Goodall is probably responsible for cutting her.
The way Telvanni is written, they're almost like a bunch of small factions, each run by a single, like, magister. And in that sense, the different styles felt natural, you know. So I didn't question it when I was playing Morrowind. How the different parts of House Telvanni felt different, I guess. I just thought it was a natural result of the different magisters having different styles, but I hadn't, you know, that's definitely something to look into.
I think this is specifically because Divith Fear is a main quest guy. He shows up in like one Telvanni quest, and so he's a Ken Rolston character, whereas House Telvanni is kind of a Douglas Goodall creation. That's how I understand it, and that's the whole problem with this conversation is we don't have enough information.
That's right. It's just a bunch of guesses. We have quotes here and there, but those aren't significant enough, and that's really our whole point from beginning to end, is that, you know, Todd Howard is credited as doing a lot more than I believe he did, and Michael Kirkbride is credited for having created the whole Dunmer culture, as if that was actually what he did.
I think we need to interview Mark Nelson and ask him who wrote what on Oblivion, and then I'm not sure who contributed to Skyrim that we could ask, because you got to ask people that aren't at Bethesda anymore and might not be under an hard NDA.
That's a problem with Bethesda. They, if you go on record as talking about one of the games, you're basically burning that bridge.
Yeah, so
as
that's
far as
you kind of have to ask them what they did. Maybe would be the way to approach it. And then as you ask each person, you can piece together.
Well, the clock is ticking on some of these people because they aren't getting any younger.
That is true. So I need to stop being lazy and try to reach out to some of these people.
Okay, so that was question number 1. And the question number 2 is far simpler. Are you worried about getting typecast by your fans as someone who is an Elder Scrolls person?
Yeah, and there will be a day where I kind of have to break that. So that's why I do the secondary videos, and then they get less views. But
yes,
I do try to remind people in my community that at the end of the day, not an Elder Scrolls channel, just kind of an Elder Scrolls focus right now. I got lucky.
You ever seen the YouTube channel Scott Falco, who did the Overwatch Side of Salt videos?
No.
Well, he would do. Yeah, his whole thing is he'd do a silly little cartoon, and he'd review parts of Overwatch, like each character, and you can hear the passion bleeding out of him, like as he progresses the series, because he learns to despise Overwatch more and more as he plays it, till eventually he just said, "You know what? I'm done. I'm done with Overwatch. This is the last Overwatch video. I'm going to review all the rest of the characters all at once." And
I think a lot of people realize. A lot of people have to realize the dangers of getting typecast.
That's right.
Because
that's absolutely right.
If you have to play it as long as you can, but you also have to let people down gently.
Yes. I mean, the guy still does things and still has a lot of views. You know, he has something about Super Smash Brothers, which got 1.1 million views. So it's not like, and that was 2 months ago. So it's not like he's.
It's not like he fell off.
It's not like he fell off, but he had kind of, like, you could watch the quality of his videos, you know, like from Overwatch video to Overwatch video till when he hit Diva, and he despises Diva, and yet he's doing a video about her, and you can hear it in his voice, the contempt, and from then on it's just I have a friend who would link all of these videos, and it was just amusing, and the thought came up when we talked about being typecast and how there was a Skyrim YouTuber named Smike who would do Skyrim, and he'd do Five Nights at Freddy's.
And then one of those took off, I bet.
Yeah, well, Five Nights at Freddy's took off. The problem is that he kind of got bored of both. And, how much content is there in Five Nights at Freddy's, really?
I think if you've seen Civi's video on it, that's basically, it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So, he managed to pump out about 15, 20 Five Nights at Freddy's videos, and by then he was kind of done with it. But fans would constantly go, make more, make more.
Right.
And he didn't want to make more. So
you have to be the executive producer of your channel at the end of the day, and you have to recognize what's good for it and what isn't. And a lot of people, a lot of people aren't video editors. They're not content creators. They don't know. Did you catch my stream yesterday? Or do you know what I did yesterday?
I looked. It was the Oblivion one, right?
Yeah.
I had about half hour of it running in the background while I was working on something else. So I kind of got the gist of what you did, and I figured maybe you'd want to consult with other people on it.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious how you as a content creator kind of feel about that.
Okay, so I am very weird with Oblivion because I like mods. I love mods.
Yeah.
And Oblivion is put together with sticks and glue.
It's the least moddable in my opinion.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, my current Skyrim run has 600 hours in it, and I'm still not done with all the content because Legacy of the Dragonborn adds just so much stupid amount of content to do.
I played that mod in
However,
2016, and it was kind of good. I think it was 2016. I don't know if it's that old, but
2018 they overhauled it, and like late 2019, the definitive version came out that ties into a future plot called Odyssey of the Dragonborn that isn't out yet.
that's pretty cool. I knew it was a successful mod because it's really good.
But yeah, it ties into about 20-30 other mods, and that's really where its strength comes from. Is it gives you a framework to change Skyrim from a bland action-adventure sandbox to a bland action-adventure sandbox that is the world's best collectathon.
Yep, that was my favorite part of Skyrim. There was a mod that overhauls the Whiterun home where it gets you all the stuff that people usually collect, and that's how I got into that mod.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is there's a tracker for how many relics you have, and there's a bunch of side quests and things that are all tied to extra relics that the mod adds. And then if you get, say, the Artifacts of Oblivion mod, which adds those artifacts in random places, there's actually a tie-in to Legacy of the Dragonborn.
To get all of those?
Yeah, to get all of those, exactly. And it has its own place in the gallery. And that's how all of the... someone asked if there was a mod to bring back the role-playing elements. All right, so what you probably want, the closest thing would be Requiem, and even then, it doesn't really do a great job. But the closest thing you're going to get turning Skyrim into an RPG is probably Requiem. And that will remove the level scaling to where, you know, if you go to a cave where there's strong monsters, there'll be strong monsters there. Bleak Falls Barrow isn't for you at the very beginning of the game, it turns out. There's some bandit camps with your name on it first, because those bandits are weak and the Draugr are strong, so on and so forth. So, yes, there are... that's probably going to be your only way right now. Yeah. But, yeah, so if you want to have a discussion about Oblivion, aside from the modding aspect, which, you know, I've already explained, that's kind of my... what I'm focusing on are mods. Yeah.
Well, that would be an interesting perspective to have in the video, because I'm obviously a purist, so...
Yes. Whereas I add all kinds of stuff that does not fit, and I acknowledge it does not fit. So, but as far as if we want to kind of dial that back and talk about Oblivion itself, the actual game, you know, there's just... I don't like Minas Tirith being there. I don't.
Yes.
I find Minas Tirith to be very awkwardly injected there. Also, the landscape of the game was procedurally generated, and it shows. Like, they just literally plunked in all the locations in...
that road between Breville and Leyawiin is super rough. Because it feels like a road from, like, Fuel.
I don't remember that. I'll have to look at it again sometime soon.
Well, Fuel was the big... We have the biggest driving world game of its time. And if you actually play it sometime, you'll see a lot of the roads are, like, full of jagged edges. And holes in the
Yeah.
world and all the shortcomings of procedural generation that don't get smoothed out usually. But I mean, insofar as the stream I did yesterday, as it relates to content creators, do you think it's a negative thing for the Elder Scrolls community? That's what I'm kind of worried about.
You're afraid that people will look at that video and go, "You're hating on all these other content creators?"
Yeah, that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Like I mean the best for I mean the best for Never, but I did talk a lot of shit, and I think it doesn't come across as respectful as I really intend it to be.
Yeah, but there's not really much you can do about that. I made fun of I think someone named Mr. Matty Plays once. Like I used him as an example of Bethesda's ideal like target demographic, and it wasn't supposed to be hugely disrespectful. I just showed him screeching his head off when they announced Elder Scrolls 6, like in the teaser trailer. And I said this, like, and then I showed his, like, the thumbnail from his video in the previous year where it was a Vault Boy going, "So fucking disappointing," which, you know, and like, this is, that they successfully converted this irate, so fucking disappointing person into screeching his head off into a cell phone camera. Like, that is a perfect example of Bethesda's marketing at work.
But the problem is you're offending somebody that people are a fan of.
Exactly. And I got a bunch of shit for that. I don't regret it. Not by any measure. But
I called out Dime Tree and his Elder Scrolls Problem videos in my first draft. I never got shit for it because nobody saw it, but I was always kind of curious if that had made it into the 8-hour version, how people would have responded to that.
Yeah, I don't think picking apart, like focusing on other creators is a good thing, at least in a video that is meant to be like a comprehensive retrospective, because what will end up happening is people will focus on that one thing. You know, okay, so you'll say like 20, 30 things that they agree with. And suddenly, as soon as you attack their favorite person, a switch will flip in their head and go, "This guy's full of shit." And
someone brought up Puma theories.
Yes, okay, so I did take a video down from YouTube all on my own because it was technically bullying. And the man was saying Tiber Septum, and he was talking about how he was talking from a Nord view of someone who's only ever played Skyrim and knows nothing about the lore at all. Right. So I just basically
poked fun at it, but went too far.
Yeah, I took him to school, okay? So, and he had no interest in going to school. So, and maybe I saw the him saying Tiber Septum instead of Tiber Septum. Tiber Septum is based on the Tiber River, you know, outside of Rome.
Yeah, it has an actual pronunciation, unlike a lot of things in Morrowind.
Exactly. So, well, a lot of things in Morrowind are just someone jamming their keyboard down. Like.
And then people get mad because I don't know the ESL pronunciation.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I have a clip where, through the power of Azura, Nerevar... Hold on a second. I'm going to hit one here, and I don't worry about that one that I just typed in there. I just need to grab a quick... it should be under useful, streaming, stream memes, and then...
I'm gonna read this chat. Lots of theory channels are trash, just them reading snippets from the wiki. I'm friends with somebody who watches a lot of Elder Scrolls theory channels, and that's what they're just looking for. I have noticed a trend of content creators that are just reading like fan wikis as their main form of content.
I did that a little bit in the beginning. The problem, like, I started to make a video where I was just reading the wiki, but then I stopped and I was like, well, let's find a reference of that in-game and try to find some, what do you call it, context. and
Show
you know,
people the
related-
line and not just talk about it.
Yes. And that's where I had a lot of fun, is just looking into it. Unfortunately, the more you look into the lore, especially if you focus on the lore, not the video game as a whole, like it's obvious when you look at the production of the game as a whole, but when you look at the lore specifically, it has this illusion that it's bigger and better than it is, but then you actually start to criticize it, you know, side by side with things like Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, Tolkien.
Yeah, where they have actual
yeah.
like lore masters to kind of set that shit down.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that Elder Scrolls lore there's a lot of it, but it's not actually that well written. It's just that it's good for the game, and that's the problem is that in the lore community they have a tendency to try to exalt this stuff as if it were literary fiction. Anyway,
Yeah, it's
let
not
me,
it's not the peak of writing that is Attack on Titan.
yes, indeed. God, I dropped. I think my wife was showing me Attack on Titan, and we watched it, but I kind of checked out mentally back when we.
I'm one of those manga snobs. Gotta read the original and all that.
I'm trying to remember at what point the storyline lost me, and I think it was when they did the big lore dump, and they basically said, "Hey, no, people are on the island. Like it's an island where we believed all humanity was destroyed, but
it's actually World War One."
Yes, exactly. It's actually World War One. I'm like, okay, this is terrible. Goodbye.
Yeah, the secret of the basement was always going to be more enticing than what's actually in it.
Yes. That's exactly right. But I mean, we talk about the mystery box, you know, J.J. Abrams' mystery box.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's good once or twice, but if you rely on it, it's kind of bad.
Yeah. The thing is, with all the talk of the mystery box, no one fucking uses Chekhov's gun. So there's just all these guns on walls that aren't being used.
Yeah, and then they go backwards and say they were being used all along.
Yes, exactly. Alright.
Well, I'm probably going to do another one of those note-taking streams on Strategy's Oblivion video.
Yes.
Because...
it's good.
Yeah. I think he's more in my camp.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. Like, the stream that you had going on, as far as I could tell, was good. I don't see it as overly disrespectful that you're, you know, picking apart their stuff. I really don't. But I do think that you need to take all of the focus, the name, stuff like that. Maybe include less of that in the actual end presentation. Like, I know people say, well, you're straw manning people because you aren't putting a name to the argument, but it's better to do that than to directly call people out and start an
emotional fan kind of fight.
Yes. You're detracting from the material. The issues are a part of the material, and they're important. But when you start attaching identities to those issues, then you're detracting from the material. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. And I'm not saying that you can't do like a direct response video to this guy's just wholly stupid idea. But then it's about the response,
it's about him.
It's about him and what he said, not about the game. And I think you should separate your retrospective from the identities of the people you're arguing against. That's what I think.
Yeah, my main goal is basically demonstrating consensus. Like, there's a part of Will's video where he argues that you shouldn't see Kvatch, and I think that represents a part of the fan base that does believe that it's a bad idea to see Kvatch.
Oh, that's so difficult because I wanted to see Kavach.
Yeah.
Like,
So he argued that
Hmm.
seeing Kavach is a bad idea because players will be mad at the game if like their house gets destroyed or if they miss out on a quest or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of misses that you could work around that, but him being wrong is not
Yes.
the point. It's him being
Yes.
an example that there are people out there who argue that,
Yes.
and that's kind of the main goal.
You know, I said something similar a while ago. I know it's a completely different topic, but they should not go to Akavir. Like, people
Yes.
really want to see Akavir. And I'm saying they should not do that. Not with their current writers, not with their current game designers.
I think I've said
Possibly
that.
not ever.
I think I've said that each stream of the last week.
I see.
Because it just keeps coming up, and I'm like, don't do Akavir. It's more interesting to read about than it is to see.
Yes. But no, I have the best clip in all of ESO, and I need to grab it right now, and I'll send it to you directly in a second.
Mystery boxes require not dangling the keys. Leave the audience wondering on their own what's in the box. Don't mention it every 10 chapters. That was a sentiment.
All right, I've got the best clip from ESO you will ever see,
Okay. Can't pull it up on
and
stream
you can probably just
because
play
of
the
way-
audio for them.
Okay.
You can probably just play the audio for them.
We believe that, through the power of Azura, Nerevar will return to unite all Dunmer, House and Ashlander alike, and make Morrowind great again. The returned Nerevar will be known as the Nerevarine.
Is it the pronunciation? I know it is the make America make Morrowind great again thing. I remember that.
Yeah,
That was one of the lines that like I didn't skip when I was playing the Morrowind content.
Yes.
But no,
The
that's
Nerevarine.
Nerevarine. Yeah, I remember that too. I was like, how did that fly? Maybe the idea is regional pronunciations. I don't know. There's my excuse. There's no official pronunciation.
Hey, Lady Nerevar on Twitter was talking about the pronunciation of Chim, and she said it's actually actually to be Kim, like chimera.
I've heard that
The
before.
chimer.
Chimer, yeah.
And the problem is that she was trying to correct the lead writer of ESO, the new lead writer, because Schick is gone. Lawrence Schick, by the way, tremendous individual, wrote the original Dungeon Master's Guide for Dungeons and Dragons. They underutilized everything about him. They barely used his stuff other than for lore books to explain why their developer decisions were correct in the first place.
Yes. I remember those.
Yes, this
I remember
man
the books that
wrote-
are out of time too.
Yes, well, they explained that there's a library that actually gathers books from the past, present, and future.
Because they fucked up.
That's because they fucked up. Instead of fixing it, they just continually decide. Anyway, the new lore master, the guy who says Mehrunes Dagon is such an anarchist, always kicking down sandcastles. That's his takeaway of Mehrunes Dagon. Anyway. This particular guy says, yeah, Chim like cheese. That's exactly right. That is exactly what he said on Twitter, and she did not like that very much because she was trying to explain how her husbando's her husband. I'm not gonna make fun of that. How her husband's take on Chim was the correct one, and how basically this is
because Kirkbride is Elder Scrolls.
Yes, exactly. So.
That's a funny clash of egos. The Elder Scrolls lore people and the ESO lore people. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
The Kirkbride versus ESO.
Yes, and it's funny because overly, the reason there hasn't been conflicts like this before is because Kirkbride made this big statement where there is no canon, only levels of good ideas. And because of that statement, they have continually just said, if you don't like something in ESO, your own personal interpretation, your headcanon is completely valid. You don't have to worry about it. Like, this is all fiction about a fictional universe, so
Your mods are
we're
canon
gonna
too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They actually, if you go to the the Elder Scrolls lore subreddit, they have a classification for their fan fiction called Apocrypha. That's what they call it. They don't want to call it fan fiction. They want to call it Apocrypha, even though it's the same
fan
fucking
fiction.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But it's very important that everyone's headcanon be respected, basically, in amongst that circle of people. So, yeah. And I'm sure I got horribly derailed. I was talking about Oblivion at some point. Let's see
It's
here.
all well and good. The chat loves it.
Yes. I was just saying the Oblivion, I guess, no, the last thing I said that was relevant, other than, you know, you should separate the identities a little. I didn't like the Minas Tirith. I didn't like the landscape. In fact, I always play Oblivion with the unique landscapes mod that completely overhauls how the landscape works. If you
bring the
check
jungle
out
back?
this one, actually no, believe it or not, it
Interesting.
doesn't. Now, what I'm trying to say is the actual quality of the landscape as you run around it is just so flat and uninteresting that by adding standout geographical features to different areas, it breathes so much life into the game as you explore it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
The jungle, yeah, the jungle makes sense. Go on.
No, I didn't have anything really.
No, I was just gonna say the jungle makes sense from a storyline perspective, but I'm just talking about what makes the game a better video game. And you know, if we're gonna have something gigantic like Daggerfall, where everything is just kind of open for miles on, you know, end, if you use Daggerfall Unity with the, you know, increased view distance, and that's one thing. You know, No Man's Sky is a procedurally generated game where everything, it looks kind of samey.
On
There's
each
an
planet,
occasion.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. On each
biome.
planet. Yeah, planet biome, exactly. But I enjoy No Man's Sky, kind of. Just like I enjoy Elite Dangerous, kind of. But Oblivion, it has these islands of handcrafted content in what is otherwise these sprawling outdoor environments, you know, speed tree generated trees everywhere.
And
I just
a
feel
poor level designer that just wants to make a forest.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. It's just not that good, and I think I need the
you need that more
I need the
interesting
unique
world.
landscapes mod. Yeah, I need to elevate this forest, this generic European fantasy land, to something that somewhat approaches the quality of each individual city that you go into, because the cities aren't badly designed. You know,
They're at least all unique.
You know, exactly, they're all unique.
Like
And
Brazil
so
may be a shithole,
that's-
but that's its gimmick.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that the actual cities like the handcrafted content stands out amongst all the procedurally generated stuff. The procedurally generated land doesn't it doesn't rise to the level it needs to. Like the game needed another year in the oven, basically.
Yeah, it's clear that it was shorthand for
Yes.
an actual world.
Yeah, and you can tell that Skyrim, you know, as much as we like to poke at Skyrim, almost every part of that landscape was handcrafted.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, once you get over the color palette, yes.
I think it's the one that you don't have to mod to enjoy the landscape, at least.
It's true. It's true. I agree with that. I've done several runs where none of the mods I was using affected the landscape at all. So I agree.
Let's see.
But
We're
yeah,
almost at 2 hours, so I'm gonna wrap it up in about 10 minutes. So.
Okay.
You got anything else for the stream? This is a good talk.
All I was getting, yeah. Well, what I was gonna approach this with was just saying that, okay, well, I tend to attack things from the direction of someone who really wants to use mods to bring out the best the game has to offer, and Oblivion just has is the hardest to do that on several levels, I guess. And you know, Skyrim's is a lot more sturdy and able to effectively be modded, and Morrowind has reached the point where we have an open source engine that
we have the tools to do anything, like make Balmora McDonald's.
There is literally was for a while a battle royale server of Morrowind, where clients would log in and they'd be in random locations in the landscape, and then they would have like 5 minutes to gather as many items as possible before everyone gets teleported to the Vivek Arena for one-on-one matches.
Yeah, have you played on the Nerevarine Prophecy server? They've got like their own. I've
seen other people playing it.
They've got like their own unique economy with the monsters and like rebalances and stuff. Like what the Morrowind community's been capable of, and I think it's just that passion from like that's the closest that they got to that good formula.
Yeah. Let me ask you a completely unrelated question. Have you ever played Neverwinter Nights?
No, I haven't. What's weird is I own Neverwinter Nights, like a physical copy from back in the day, and I just was never curious enough to put it in.
I do not recommend playing the main campaign. If you ever want to play it, immediately skip to the first expansion pack, Shadows of Undrentide, which replaces the main campaign completely. The main campaign is the most bland, generic shit you'll ever see. It's here's how we do Dungeons and Dragons in our engine, basically. That is what the main campaign is. Shadows of Undrentide, on the other hand, has compelling characters, a good story, and development for your own character's progression. All of that and more. Also, persistent world servers. In addition to there being tons and tons of different community-made adventures for you to go on, there are persistent world servers. They act like MMORPGs from between 40 to 300 people. And they have their own factions, their own, everything. It's all balanced server side. So what I'm trying to say is Neverwinter Nights is something that if you get into and turns out you actually like, there are hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of content.
Right.
Yes.
I'd always heard that Neverwinter Nights was something that just people really love. The only problem is I'm not on like the isometric side of things. I've been trying to get into it. But
yeah,
I do appreciate the recommendation.
Well, the isometric is definitely an issue, but it's real time with there are still turns and there are still dice rolls, but they are done under the hood. Like you see it in the bottom of bottom panel, the text panel.
The old combat log kind of interface.
Yeah, exactly. But you experience it like a player in real time. It's just that the turns are going on under the hood, basically.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. You put me on the spot since you did it live. Now the stream.
Yes.
Now that the community's gonna want Neverwinter's night stream, so I do appreciate that though. I'll put it on the list.
All right, I'm taking off. You have a good one. I'll
You
talk
too.
to you in text chat later. Feel free to hit me up.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Alrighty. We are at an hour and 55 minutes. If anybody's got anything on their chest, they need to bring it up in the chat now. I guess I'll bring Quarter in. He was patiently waiting. Mr. Quarter, you're on the air.
Oh, what's up? I thought you only had 10 minutes left. Is it like a...
I'll give you a minute if you've got anything quick.
Okay. The question I had wasn't quick, but I guess I'll just... Thank you for the great content. I became a...
You cut off there. You became a what?
Oh, a patron.
Oh,
channel, so
I saw that.
I'm just
Yes,
excited.
I
I'm just
appreciate
excited
that.
What you got, because you know that conversation you had with the last guy. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Was really interesting because I'd hate to see you get typecast. Like, I think you have a lot more good
Yes.
analysis. I'd love
Um,
to see what else you think.
I like to think of it as like a vacation in Elder Scrolls. And
Right, yeah,
when the
that's a
day
good way
when
to
the day comes that I have to go home, people are just gonna have to accept it.
No, I'm more than willing to see what else. Oh, my mic keeps cutting out.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, thanks for calling. Remember you from the Fear stream, so good to have a repeat caller.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna let
hope
you
have
go.
a good one.
Yep, I will see you. Alrighty, why don't I respond to your DMs? Because you're a madman, Mad Dog. It's a mad dog eat dog world there. Okay, I really need you to come out about that. Combat in RPGs will never be as good. Will never be good in any RPG that looks like it has good combat, does it through illusions. Yeah? Basically hitting the nail on the head there. Keep making multi-hour videos and I'll be around. I think the way I'm going to do it is there's always going to be kind of a big analysis project, but it's not always going to be Elder Scrolls. There's going to be a day where I do something else. Complete Bethesda and end it. That's the goal. All right, we're going to wrap things up here. If you want to watch these game streams, you can catch them on the Patrician Extras channel. The work streams will be in an unlisted playlist on this channel, however. There is kind of a distinction, and the reason is one has to do with the channel and one's kind of something I do for fun. Was The Cursed Crusade fun to review? It was fun to review in the sense of like one night I just remembered that I had read an article about it and really wanted to know what that game was. Otherwise, if you haven't already, you can join the Discord community. I set up a role which you can opt into to get stream notifications if you don't get them on YouTube. So I don't have to @ everyone. Wednesday may be a work stream. Medal of Honor review win. Which Medal of Honor? The modern ones? I don't know. I don't know if I can do it again. I don't need it to be Elder Scrolls or even Bethesda. Yep, well, I'm glad. Alright, looks like we are about done here. Last time I cut it off early, so I'm going to talk a little bit, and then I'm going to stop. Yes,